morning, everyone, and welcome to the first official stage of AERGO. I'm Allison, and I'll be your host for the day. So for the past few months, AERGO team has been pouring out all our time and passion to initiate this project. We're very happy to be able to present it to you on this beautiful day. Before we begin, we want to take time to thank the early fans and supporters that have been showering us with excitement. For those who are not yet part of our community, our official channels are our website, Telegram, and Medium. Now we'll begin our first stage. Phil Zamani, COO and a board member of AERGO, will give us an overview of AERGO. And please give a big round of applause.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our press briefing. My name's Phil Zamani. I hope at the end of this morning you'll take away three things. Number one, what is the market opportunity for ERGO and who are we addressing? Number two, what is it? And then number three, how we will deliver this solution to the market with partners such as Blocko, GBIC, and Spark Labs, and many others who will join us on the journey as well. But before we start, let me give you a bit of background to myself, because I think this may be relevant. So I've had the benefit and the honor of working with some of the leading open source software companies over the last 20 years, and I've helped small and large companies adopt new technologies that are open source. Companies like Red Hat, who allowed companies to use Linux in IT, technologies like Hadoop for big data, and companies like Deutsche Telekom and VMware that use cloud computing for their business. This has given me an insight into how technology can be used, but how long it takes to incubate this market as well. The truth is, the internet is at a very interesting stage. So I'll use a quote from IDC, which states that within the next 3 years, up to 25% of large companies will be adopting blockchain. What does this mean, really? What does this really mean? Well, if you look back in the last 30, 35 years, there's been lots of waves of technology. But they say history does not repeat itself, but it rhymes. Things happen in waves. Many technologies come and many go, but a few stick. And one of the fundamental technologies that enabled the internet to work was actually TCP/IP 35 years ago. TCP/IP became the baseline of the internet. And since then, we've seen lots of new companies come to market. But we should look back to actually predict the future. So let me take a few minutes to walk you through some interesting statistics. This looks at the largest companies. This looks at the largest companies over 10 years, going back 30 years. So 30 years ago, the only company you may still recognize if you're in the tech space is Microsoft. 10 years later, many of these companies were displaced. New entrants came to market, new technologies. But really in the last 20 years, in fact, today, the top 8 companies were almost nowhere 10 years ago. They're the digital companies like Facebook, Google, Apple, Tencent, Alibaba. These have transformed the market and pushed out large companies. It's predicted that in the next 10 years, there'll be new companies who are not even in existence today, but it will take up to 10 years for those companies to be developed. And they'll be built differently. Unlike in the last past 10 years, where companies like Google and Facebook built centralized, controlled, fantastic ecosystems, there's one difference. They control all the data. They collect the data, they analyze the data, and they monetize the data. They don't share. It's for their benefit. The future will be different. It will be built on businesses who decentralize not only the architecture, they decentralize their data. So we believe, and just like IDC predicts, the market will change in the next 10 years. We'll see new companies who will build distributed ecosystems, distributed business models, where they will share data securely in a peer-to-peer manner, and the data can be used by many participants to share the benefits in those ecosystems. So why are people looking at blockchain? And in fact, what is blockchain? So a simple definition of blockchain. So blockchain is an incorruptible, digital, distributed, decentralized, and secure ledger where you can record transactions, but you can also program transactions on anything of value. So pretty much you can store data or any transaction on a blockchain completely securely. That has never been possible before, especially in an autonomous world. But blockchain is now just getting going, really, in the business sector. So why are businesses looking at blockchain? Businesses really exist for simple reasons: generating profit for their customers, servicing their customers, building new products, building new services, building new ecosystems. A distributed architecture gives companies the chance to build new ecosystems and share their data. So many businesses are looking at blockchain as an enabler to use their data to share with customers and other businesses in a new ecosystem, in an open, decentralized ecosystem. So there's a huge demand for blockchain in business. So far, we've seen blockchain applied to the crypto world in currencies, but we're now just about seeing the opening of a new market for businesses of all size, small to large, to use blockchain. But let's take a reality check. Today, there are not many business applications on blockchain. The vast majority of the applications, the so-called distributed apps, DApps, are in the crypto exchange market, social, media applications, B2C, and also games. There are very, very few enterprise or large or business applications running on blockchain. So why is this? Why is there such a high demand for blockchain, yet very little penetration in the business sector? Well, there are some fundamental challenges with blockchain. Number one, it doesn't have the performance you need to run a business at scale. It lacks the throughput, the latency, and the scale you need to run a business. It's also very complex. Some of these technologies are new design styles, new application languages. The average customer does not have the skills to use these new technologies. It takes time to retrain developers, database administrators to use new technologies. And last but not least, even if you could make blockchain work, many companies will not deploy a new application, a new business, unless this application and business can integrate with their existing IT systems for security, for privacy, for consistency of business. So integration into IT is one of the biggest challenges for using blockchain today in enterprise businesses. Let me introduce ERGO. ERGO is the first time a company, an organization, is trying to solve the complex problem of how do you make blockchain, which is complex, easy to use, easy to deploy, and make it something that any business can adopt, whether it's a small business to a large corporate, or whether it's the government or a public sector. So ERGO combines two key initiatives. Number one, it uses technologies that have been tested almost in secret over the last few years to prove the technology working with large customers. And second, we're using the experience that has been found in those projects to teach the market how to use blockchain and where not to use blockchain. So combining old and new technologies with the know-how gathered in many, many customers gives ERGO a sense of reality. It's a pragmatic approach. At the center of ERGO is the customer, and the customer being the developer or the business that wants to use blockchain for their business. Many blockchain projects look at technology, look at the crypto market, and ignore the end customer. In ERGO, the end customer is central to the model. So what is it? So ERGO is really three things. It's a new high-performance public blockchain called AERGO Chain. Around the blockchain, we're adding a comprehensive development environment for programmers, for developers to write many, many apps for many, many different applications, and it's utilizing what we call serverless computing. Serverless computing is a way of using cloud computing to deploy applications without the developer having to worry about the computer, the network, the storage. That is automated for the developer by somebody else, a cloud provider, a telco provider. We take away the complexity of deploying applications away from the developer so the developers can focus on what they do well, building great applications. So the combination of a public blockchain, a development environment with a stable API application programming interface and a serverless computing capability gives a solution to this market. Now, this wasn't developed in isolation. It was actually developed by one of our technology strategic partners, a company called Blocko. In fact, Blocko is based here in Korea. We believe that after IBM, Blocko has deployed more blockchain systems in production versus any other company in the world. This is amazing if you think about this. Not many people have even heard of Blocko outside of Korea. But this technology was developed here over the last 4 years. And you'll see in this chart, let me go forward. Sorry, I'm going the wrong way. As I indicated, the conception, the genesis, was actually in 2014. And since then, the technology has been deployed in many customers here in Korea at a very large scale. We have 9 million users using systems in Korea built by Blocko on their core technology. That core technology has been injected into ERGO as a genesis. But let me explain what this means. Let's look back. The first blockchain that most people are familiar with is Bitcoin. Bitcoin was what we call a first-generation architecture. It's a single application, the Bitcoin, running on a single blockchain, also called Bitcoin. A second-generation platform is something like Ethereum, where you can run multiple applications, in this case smart contracts, on a single fabric called Ethereum. Very comprehensive, very revolutionary at the time. There have since been newer projects that are called third-generation projects. And those third-generation projects are trying to solve specific problems around performance and scalability of blockchain. ERGO is slightly different. It's the next generation. It allows you to develop and run multiple applications on multiple chains. I'll say that again. Multiple applications on multiple chains. We do not believe anybody has solved this problem before. We think we're first. What's behind ERGO is know-how and skills, again, achieved through customer projects in Korea with many, many clients, where we've worked with enterprise clients to figure out the performance issues, the integration issues to make blockchain work within their existing systems, how to make it work with Active Directory or with Oracle or SAP, how to integrate the security model so when you deploy a service on blockchain, it's secure and stable and high performance. We've also figured out how to work with system integrators. System integrators are very key to enabling new technologies in this market. We've learned a lot of work by working with system integrators. And last but not least, developers. Evans Data Corporation has estimated that today there are 23 million developers around the world. 23 million. They also predict within the next 5 years, 5 more million developers will be added to the world. They've also predicted that a third of those developers are already familiar with technologies like SQL and open source. So yes, SQL, which many think as an old-fashioned technology, is back in fashion. In fact, we're making SQL a key programming paradigm in ERGO to bring in a very broad range of developers and programmers who like to program in SQL and in open source. Many of those skills will be deployed in the ERGO technology, but we'll also share best practices, blueprints, to allow developers and businesses to very quickly build a blockchain system that they can test. If you start from zero to build a blockchain system today, it will take you 3 months typically before you can have a working system and all the computers. We believe we can do this within 3 weeks with our deployment blueprints, which will give customers the chance to test and build blockchain quickly. So it's very important. So what are the 3 things underneath ERGO? Number 1 is a programming model that uses all kinds of programming languages, but at the fundamental basis of this are core products like Go and SQL to make this very easy for anybody to use. You do not need to be an investment bank like Goldman Sachs to use ERGO. Any company, any developer could pick this technology up and use it very quickly. Quite complex, but easy to use. Not easy to make this work. Second is something which we are calling the N-tier architecture, which I'll explain. the next few slides. And third, something I already mentioned before, serverless cloud, the ability to deploy your application in your business on multiple different architectures very quickly. If you look at how people use Amazon AWS, or Google Cloud, or Bluemix from IBM, or Azure from Microsoft, there are methodologies built into these tool chains to allow you to deploy quickly, automatic scaling of your systems. We are building that capability into ERGO to allow developers to deploy their applications anywhere on any system. So let's look now at some of the core technologies. So there are many, many things we're adding to ERGO. I'll just highlight a few because Hun, our CTO, will do a much better job than me to explain some of them. So I mentioned new applications. In the mobile world, in the Web 4.0, Internet 4.0, we're seeing the emergence of microservices and containers. These are small applications that can run on mobile devices on servers, and they can be developed in weeks and deployed quickly. Many of these techniques are being used by companies like Google, Facebook, Alibaba, Tencent, digital companies. We're bringing this now to the mass market. We're bringing this capability to blockchain for the first time. We're bringing in the development environment that is used by advanced digital customers for any customer to use to develop apps quickly. We're also very careful about the data and the security model. You'll see later we have quite a comprehensive architecture that protects the user, protects the data, protects the business. That's very key to what we do. And last but not least, open source. Open source is a way of developing technology. It's a way of attracting developers. It's a way of life. It's a different model. So ERGO is one of the first blockchain architectures that will be open source. In fact, we are building ERGO as a not-for-profit open source company. The technology we're developing is not just open source, it's an open source platform. An open source platform means the technology is not just technically good, it has all the supporting capabilities to allow a developer and a business to develop everything from start to finish. That's what an open source platform means. So let's talk about some of the technology now that's very revolutionary. In the market, there's lots of discussions, lots of opinions about public permission systems, permissionless, private cloud, private blockchains. There's lots of buzzwords around the world, and one world believes it should all be private, another world believes it should all be public. Well, as I said earlier, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. This whole discussion is very similar to a number of years ago with cloud. Will you use public or private? The truth is, you use all of them. You mix and match, but you have a security architecture around them. So the basis of ERGO is an N-tier model. An N-tier model means you can mix a public blockchain with what's called a side chain or a permission chain all together in one environment. Multiple applications, multiple blockchains, all working together. The best way to describe this is to try and give an example. Imagine you had three games companies running their own system, high speed. But these games companies wanted to allow their users to exchange data, live data, maybe buying an avatar or buying a service from one game to another. You can, with ERGO, connect these two architectures with a side chain that is also running very fast, high performance, with the ERGO public chain to allow data to exchange and be validated and authorized. High speed, lower speed, validated. Private, hybrid, public, all in one environment. ERGO is the first time you can actually do this all end-to-end. And in fact, you could develop the whole architecture stack in ERGO and deploy this in a serverless computing environment. Again, this is a revolution. This has not been done before. It's the first time anybody's tried to do this in the blockchain space. But we can't do this without partners. So a key aspect of the ERGO business model is to attract an ecosystem of stakeholders or partners. This will range from technology partners like block providers and node providers who will help us run the public blockchain network. It will also involve cloud delivery and telco partners who have secure local networks to deliver the service to customers if they want to run their chains or their hybrid chains on a secure local network. It also involves working with system integrators to bring them in, because we need to educate the customers and the market, and often that is done with system integrators in the first few years. And then last but not least are the developers. As I said, we will bring quite a lot of new innovation and help for developers to be able to use the ERGO framework. So in summary, ERGO is an open ecosystem where we combine technology, applications, infrastructure providers in a platform to be able to build more value and help each other to build new applications, new business ecosystems around ERGO. We're also launching today the ERGO Marketplace. So as you develop data or capture data and develop new apps, you may want other people to use those apps. So we're creating an online marketplace which allows developers and data providers who want to share their value with others through a marketplace. So the idea is that you could provide applications or mobile microservices built on ERGO and data into a marketplace to allow system integrators to build a newer system, or for data analysis in the business, or for your enterprise customer to use some of these core elements as libraries to build their blockchain architecture. So the marketplace will allow an exchange of value amongst stakeholders, in the ecosystem. So where is the ideal sweet spot for ERGO? Well, the truth is you could use blockchain and ERGO to solve some of the IT issues, complexity you may have. You could reduce your cost of running maybe an Oracle system by running a blockchain system. However, that will still take time and it's quite complex, and maybe the financial gains are not worth the complexity of doing this. The truth is, a new application is where blockchain really, really excels. And in fact, with ERGO, the best use case is if you want to build a new application or a new business service with another company, another supply chain, where you want to exchange data fast, secure, transparently, to help each other to reach more customers. ERGO is built for that kind of architecture. It excels in use cases where you need to exchange data across countries, or across industries, with various participants, small to large companies, and where you want to deploy this in a serverless cloud computing environment. That's where ERGO's sweet spot is. Let's now talk about the token utility. So the token utility is pretty easy to explain. If we are successful at building a platform that makes it very easy and very comprehensive for developers to create new apps, we will attract better apps, more mobile apps to our platform. More apps will allow customers to build new use cases by using these apps, whether they're small companies, enterprise customers, or public sector. So more apps drives more customers, more apps and more customers drives more demand for the services in ERGO. So this is the cycle of our token. I mentioned Blocko, so it's worth explaining a bit more about Blocko, and I've asked the CEO and founder of Blocko to stand up later to give us some real examples of how Blocko's helped customers deploy blockchain successfully in the Korean marketplace. As I said, not very well known outside of Korea, but quite advanced. You can just look at some of the statistics. Over 20 enterprise customers and 20 plus enterprise systems running millions of users in a high performance environment. Again, I'll let Juan explain and share some of those customer names with you. So this is pretty impressive, especially for a company based out of Korea. So what is Blocko providing to ERGO? So Blocko is providing two core technology capabilities as a strategic technology partner. Number one, they're helping ERGO build the core architecture, the core blockchain, the core development environment. This is something they know very well and they've done for many, many years. So we're taking that know-how and leveraging that strength to build out the beginning of ERGO. But ERGO also needs applications. So I'm glad to announce that Blocko has created a special division called Blocker XYZ that is focused on developing the first DApps, distributed apps, on Ergo. This is probably one of the best development teams in the blockchain world I've seen. Very skilled engineers, excellent developers who are developing new DApps, and we'll show some of those DApps within the next few months to show the market what is possible on Ergo. But that same team has worked with very large customers to understand the mechanics of making blockchain work in a large IT environment. And that skill and that know-how, the blueprints, we will be sharing with anybody who wants to see this for free as part of the blockchain architecture under Ergo. So we'll be sharing the best practice to educate the market. So in summary, the mission of Ergo is simple. We want to enable future businesses who want to build a decentralized architecture, a decentralized business model with new innovative applications running on a public blockchain in a easy-to-deploy cloud services model. The next wave of the internet will be built on 3 core technologies: blockchain, serverless computing, and the ability to share data. They say data is a new oil. But if it's a new oil, the oil is in the pocket of some very large companies today, the digital companies, typically American, who control all the data. Now data is becoming so important, even governments are starting to regulate how data is used. And in fact, in Europe, last month, a new law came into place called the General Data Protection Regulation, the GDPR, which makes any company of any size liable for the data, the personal data they process or they control, with very heavy fines. So now you have an oxymoron, a difficult situation, where companies want to use cloud computing, distributed systems, but they're very nervous about their data. Well, blockchain potentially can solve this paradigm where you want to control your data, secure it, but also share it at the same time. So blockchain specifically will enable that. So we believe the market is potentially very, very large. This will take quite a long time to mature, probably 5 to 6 years. So Ergo is in this for the long run. We are convinced there's a huge opportunity if we provide this platform to enable the next generation of digital businesses. So with that, I'd like to thank you for being patient with me. I'll now hand over to Alison. Thanks.
So thank you, Phil. As Phil explained, Argo is a platform that creates a more diverse ecosystem around advanced blockchain programming framework. So for our next talk, let's dive deeper into our core technology. Please welcome CTO and a board member of Argo, Han Park. Please give a round of applause.
안녕하세요. 저는
Ladies and gentlemen, good to see you all. I am a CTO of Argo, and I also serve as a board member of Argo. Good to see you all. My name is Park Hyun-young. In this session, I'm going to talk about what kind of technology Argo is using and end-tier and serverless computing can be realized. I'd like to go in detail. Briefly share my background. About the last 12 years, I've been in the big data platform and database. And when it comes to blockchain, when I first saw Bitcoin, I had great interest, and over the last 2 or 3 years, along with Ethereum and many blockchain projects, and how I thought how are going to share these valuable things from the technical perspective and general database and big data solution. I believe this is far more advanced technology. That's why I am joining this blockchain economy. Let us take a look at the core technology of Bloco. There are 3 different parts. The most important thing is Argo software, platform software, and the second part, Argo-based platform, which is a main network. And by using this, Argo Hub, this is a serverless computing service. And these 3 features will work as a synergy, and it will make a better of the environment for development and enterprise environment. This will be our goal is to make meaningful blockchain in business. Let me talk about Argo platform. And well, I have to mention Blocko. Blocko, about 3 or 4 years ago, we have made a lot of effort. So both in domestic market and in the enterprise businesses, we have made an effort to expand its ecosystem. So the enterprises customers can actually reap the benefit. But we've seen a lot of obstacles. There are so many things we have learned. The biggest problem is it is difficult to develop. That is because the college students, when there's a new blockchain technology, and they're enthusiastic and they go to meetup and they study a lot. However, the existing developers in the IT environment, it is a burden for them to learn new technology. So there are so many IT developers in Korea, but when they have difficulties to introduce the blockchain technology and they can lead this business, it was difficult for them. So we have come up with the Argo platform software so the existing IT developers can use this platform. There are 4 features. The first is the developer-friendly feature. But the biggest problems that we have done is that it's so difficult to develop Solidity chain code. However, Java developers, there are so many Java developers and Java APR. There's not very many people actually using that Java language. They are using a certain program and they use DB. Without those tools, the productivity of development goes down. So we are focused on this. We have come up with SQL and development framework that is developer friendly. And the scalability. This is Ethereum style. Second layer scalability is our focus. So within one application, we have created feature called branching, and this is a scalability. Third is performance. And many people in blockchain industry says TPS, transaction per second, is meaningless. I understand what they mean. However, in the business environment, to provide services, TPS can be a biggest obstacle. So many enterprise customers use POCs, and the biggest problem is they do not see the performance of as the past. So in order to address this issue, we have come up with a parallel computing and consensus to address this issue. Last is connectivity. In the business environment, this is a theoretical issue. Once we have a chain, there's many benefits that blockchain can bring. But in many public blockchain, people question that it can be meaningful. In order to address this issue, the many assets can be moved. So this is an asset branching function. So your private chain and the public chain can be linked. More than anything else, developer-friendly platform is very important. That is our major agenda, and that is Argo SQL. And data manipulation is the biggest issue, one of the biggest issues. Many blockchain language can be developed, and most data manipulation based on the key value or based on language. So if I use this platform or other platform, they have different tools. So how to address the issue? And in the IT environment, any developers probably have used a database. That was our focus, and that's why we have provided a function called AERGO SQL. We already have launched AERGO's SQL's prototype, and we plan to release in July. In the contract, we make a table, and based on the table, provide the insert and DML and query by they have easy access to data. What's important is the SQL, what developers already know, so very easily they can have an access to data. Also, according to our customer feedback, how to make development easy. So the developers in the business have difficulties with development based on blockchain. So rather than using Java or pure API, they need a client framework for transaction and document, and many domains framework will be provided. And all 90% of developers or 99% of developers use SQL and Spring Framework. And in this development environment, Argo platform enables more productive program. The next is consensus. For the performance, we have provided DPoS. Some who are in blockchain do not like DPoS. It's meaningless because it's not about the complete decentralization. But more than anything else, in the business environment, we need a performance for the quality of service. So I believe the most appropriate consensus algorithm is this. And on our platform, the key is when they actually introduce this, what developers or what customers want, performance. Performance is important. Actually, blockchain is most of the cases a protocol project. So how the software will be developed, how to optimize a micro. In Argo project, all this performance can be lived up to the point. And more than anything else, we have made an effort for the parallel computing process. Many projects from last year, not only us, but understands the importance of parallel process. So they have functions of parallel processing. What's interesting is how do they, this is a contract unit. So usually database, when they do the parallel processing, a log or actor model for parallel processing, if that's the case, we cannot guarantee the order of the process. It is fatal. So in the contractor level, without dependency, they are not only dysfunction in the road in the future, intra-contractor, so within one service, based on dependency analysis, we can carry out, we check and the parallel process. And one of the interesting function is branching. And this was all about scalability and how are we going to come up with data security. As you can see on the slide, one single chain does not take care of everything. If necessary, we separate the chain and process the data and then merge later. So this idea developed and we have come up with the two branching model. The first is asset branching. Asset branching is the most important goal is public chain, private chain, and between privates, they can transfer important assets, and by data partitioning, it's a branching, it's a commission-based or private chain, actually DApp by department, and they can want to process by team, or they want to gather a monthly basis. If that's the requirement, they can separate chain. This is a data partitioning branching function. All this will be realized on the contract unit. It's a heterogeneous genius system can be applied. So this is a contract layer. Actually, the most challenging part is asset branching. How are we going to transfer asset? And our project is not a research project, but it is a deployment project. So we make it and we provide it as an open source, but ultimately it will be used in the business environment based on the technology. It will be enable development of the app. That's our goal. So many different various technologies will be merged, and Plasma and Plasma Cache function will be provided. Based on that, where it enables the transfer of asset, and roots, stock, and toy pegging will also be provided. So the two will be used to, with the reliability of the side chain. Plasma or toy pegging will be provided based on the trust or reliability. As the new technologies will come out, like a generalized state channel will gain traction these days, then the branching technology of branching will be advanced, and in a new version, we'll see a new technology and new features. And this is our Argo main network. Argo main network, based on it's an open source, will be used, and additionally, the governance and token model will be added. Argo's main network, basically, it serves as a hub, and many people will develop the app and make side chains and will make private chains. All this chain will be linked to public chain, main network, and it can be interlocked meaningfully. That's our basic goal. And the main network itself, the app can be in the main network, on the main network, and the serverless computing service can be linked on the main network. Main network's consensus. The consensus has a 23 BPL. So recently, many DPoS project has been studied, and the community, before it's fully matured and stable, there are many problems with BPs. So in the Argo Foundation, we have incubation system. In the initial mainnet network environment, unintentionally quota levels or setting levels, could be many problems. Through a community, we can solve that problem, but in the initial stage, the one single player can solve that problem. That's important. So we will have a phase of incubation, and after that, then the BPs will be selected by community. And one important thing is a reputation scoring. Actually, out of BP, based on the reputation, we can kick out or we can select BPs. The Argo has a multiple system. Dash DAO is successfully operated, and policy is selected. The Argo main network, Argo DAO, will be operating this. And someone will propose, and it will encourage participation, and there will be a consensus, and it will be reflected on the protocol. So on main network, the P model and requirement contract update and hard forks, these important decisions will be done by DAO system. Then this is a simple Argo token model. And this will be used for the transaction, and DPoS is staking. And in main network, there are various public services. A data dictionary, for example, domain name services will be provided, and for this native token will be used. And the tokens will be gathered by block producer and exchanged to, and in the end, it will circulate. N-tier architecture was briefly mentioned in the earlier. The realization is asset branching. So if there's a SaaS chain of Argo, in public or reliable actor will be there and will be connected by branching. This is based on Plasma. Plasma branching will enable the realization and asset will easily transfer. And this is the official model. Argo mainnet does not necessarily mean that you will lose all project. We don't mean to serve as a backbone. Ethereum, by a total decentralization, we support Ethereum as a global backbone network, and Argo ultimately will be linked with Ethereum. In the initial stage, Argo main network and Ethereum network, we thought about the interlock or linked between the two, but then everything will be UTX Plasma. But Plasma is still in a research stage, so will two-way packing will be used, and in the end, as a Plasma technology will be more developed or generalized state channel technology developed, then it will be interlocked. And Argo network itself, based on the platform, will configure the sidechain, and it's a specification of Plasma, so it's all possible. And the final puzzle of the Argo project is Argo Hub. Argo Hub is a serverless computing service. And Argo Hub, if you visit there, what you can find is everything for development of the app. It's like a playground. Argo Hub is the AWS and the blockchain service. And for ecosystem, everything will be open as an open source, and it will be operated by main network. Argo Hub's participants are developers and IT developers, of course, and the app providers or developers, and important stakeholders are node providers. Node providers are Argo Hubs, are providing resources and benefit. So Argo Hub will gather all of them and create an ecosystem. Argo Hub's feature is Argo Foundation will operate IDC, and thousands of computers will be It's not about that. Her hub itself will be an open source project. It can be customized and anybody can operate. However, hub itself, cloud computing, requires resources, and node provider will be the one who provides resources. And the apps developed by Argo Hub, it's very simple. Project will be selected and template and node spec and specification, and so it's like a click, 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 and we can configure blockchain. And when we develop the app and web ID, web wallet, we can develop easily. That is very attractive feature. In order to do so, we have Argo Forward. It is a function for easy orchestration. So actually in Node, we deploy the blockchain, and in the end, managing and monitoring function will be included. This is our roadmap. Basically, 90 days roadmap. So in the second quarter, Argo SQL will be made. And in July, it will release it as open source. So the app's philosophy will be downloaded since July. And in the third quarter, Argo Chain ARPA will be released. So this is separate from, this is chain we have developed from the scratch. It's a contract and DPoS, and many functions will be included and will be provided as a software. In quarter four, test network will be launched, and in 2019, in quarter four, the main network will be launched, and hub and marketplace, and the latter part of 2019. All things will be provided how you can check the stage of development in real time. Our goal in the end, what we wanted to do is there's so many concerns in the business environment and we wanted to address that issue. So it was for fun. Or for the it is a project for IT developers. Of course, the app developers, and we wanted to have a project that satisfies all participants. Well, my time was limited, but there will be additional white paper, and press release. Many more information will be shared. Thank you for listening.
감사합니다. 그럼에도 불구하고 많은
To reiterate
정보를
Hun's point that ARGO is not a research project, but it's rather a project that's determined to deliver. So now that we have a more thorough understanding of ARGO project, let's take a 10-minute break and we'll resume with talks from our partners, giving different lights to ARGO. We'll be back at 11:15. So let's take a break. Thank you. So let's begin with our second session, ARGO's partner. The first speaker of our partner session is Blocko, the core technology contributor of ARGO. Let's invite the CEO of Blocko to hear about collaboration of Blocko and ARGO and how they will thrive by exchanging benefits and promoting each other. Please welcome Won Kim.
안녕하세요.
Good to see you all. My name is good to see you. I am CEO and founder of Blocko. And for this, I'd like to make a presentation in English.
Founder of Blocko. I'll be explaining the partnership between Blocko and AERGO project. So to begin, Blocko is extremely happy to deliver our technology to AERGO. AERGO has been a crucial project for Blocko for the past few months, and it will continue to be. The fact that Blocko is bringing its technology to AERGO not only means that AERGO will benefit from a solid technology partner. It's meant to be a mutual relationship. Blocko means a lot to AERGO, but AERGO means a new leap for Blocko as well. So to give you a bit of information about Blocko, it's actually one of the largest unknown blockchain tech companies in the world. In fact, it's the largest in Korea with more than 60 employees and more than 20 projects in its under the belt. We have been working on private blockchain technology since 2014 and has been providing its private blockchain product, CoinStack, for dozens of production-level projects with millions of end users. Where the blockchain has been criticized as over-promising and under-delivering for many years. Blocko has been very different in this regard because we have been constantly delivering. Delivering to client is our motto, and we are one of the few startups in the world to cross the chasm per se by industrializing blockchain and reaching out to the early majority of the market. We have been successful because we are providing something called a full-stack blockchain platform. It is meant to enable something called non-trivial blockchain projects, and it's meant to cover every aspect of blockchain adoption, ranging from the operating systems level to the applications. We are one of the first full-stack blockchain providers in the market. Blockco worked hard to achieve this. We created a production-level enterprise blockchain stack called CoinStack to enable large-scale blockchain projects, with novel technical innovations such as smart Oracle architecture to connect smart contracts to legacy systems, as well as an extensive SDK and IDE for developer experience that is meant to match the norm and standard of the industry. So, as I mentioned, the customers are Blockco's top priority, and it has been our secret sauce as well, because our roadmap and technical requirements are stemmed from the voices of customers. As a result, we are in something called a virtuous circle, with a constant feedback from customers and opportunities to deliver and test our technology out in the field, instead of laboratory settings. We intend to bring the same process to AERGO and connect the customers and with the novel technology that AERGO is supposed to bring. So, going back to the customers, Blockco has a lot of customers, and most of them are very serious about blockchain as well, processing actual business workload and user data through our technology. Those include some of the prominent business clients such as KRX, as well as Samsung Card, Hyundai Card, as well as the Shinhan Bank, one of the largest retail banks in Korea, and other IT-related partners and government sector department as well. So I'm going to illustrate some of the use cases and clients that we hope to bring and connect to the AERGO platform as well. So Korea Exchange is the Central Stock Exchange of Korea, and we delivered their KSM platform for processing over-the-counter stock transactions using blockchain-based architecture. It's actually one of the most successful commercial applications of blockchain in the world, and we're actually the only one in the world to process the actual OTC transactions. Samsung Card is using blockchain to enable their authentication and identity management through the decentralized architecture. And they're using it to expand their ecosystem by connecting to different clients as well. And everything is done on blockchain using our private blockchain and smart contract architecture. And one thing that really sets apart this kind of use case is that their actual users and their business data is processed through blockchain. So millions of users, such as the Samsung Card users, are making use of blockchain without even their knowledge. Hyundai Card is experimenting with blockchain to reinvent some of their business applications using their D-app architecture. And Hyundai and Kia Motors is applying blockchain to their electronic document management. And it's meant to be a big step forward for them to bring supply chain management systems using decentralized architecture as well. And Gyeonggi Province is one of the most innovative digital governments in the world that experimented with their e-democracy through blockchain-based electronic voting system. Those are actual people who gather together to cast their voting system through blockchain. And like the Gyeonggi citizens who participate in the voting system, millions of people in Korea are making use of Blockco's technology on an everyday basis, ranging from credit card enrollment to payment processing. So we are actually making huge impact on people's life by delivering blockchain and connecting into the actual business use cases. Our journey started in 2014, and by 2017, we exceeded more than 20 business clients. And we hope to bring the same momentum and pipeline of projects to AERGO as well. So to help AERGO program, Blockco is redirecting its technical capabilities to the development of AERGO technology. Our center of R&D is the Seongnam Lab, which is the HQ for Blockco. And in addition to the Korean R&D lab, we are creating another blockchain R&D lab based in London to attract some of the best talents in the field. Blockco's extensive sales capabilities and partnership network will be channeled for AERGO's success. We are planning some interesting projects as well through our Blockco XYZ to create the suite of first-party and third-party applications to launch on AERGO platform as well. We are really excited to work with AERGO, and we hope their innovation will be mutual. Thank you.
Thank you, Won, for clearing out the collaboration, relationship, and plan, and highlighting the technology that AERGO will be based off of. As he mentioned, the fact that Blockco has been serving the real industry will foster the visibility of AERGO being the dominant platform in the near future. For our next guest, we'll invite Shin-Hye Lee, a partner of GBIC, the lead backer of AERGO. Please give a round of applause.
Hi everyone. 안녕하세요. 저는 GBIC의 파트너 이신혜라고 합니다.
I am Shin-Hye Lee, a partner of GBIC. I'll also speak in English.
My name is Shin-Hye Lee, partner of GBIC, and I'm very honored to be here as one of the key backers and also advisor of AERGO. So just a little brief introduction of GBIC. GBIC is a global multi-strategy crypto blockchain fund based in US, China, and Korea. We started investing in early stage blockchain projects from early 2017 and have invested in and accelerated over 40 blockchain projects from all over the globe. So blockchain technology has developed and is evolving continuously every day to make real business use cases. In 2009, Bitcoin introduced the world to blockchain 1.0 with a new decentralized transaction ledger. And in 2013, Ethereum gave us smart contract and the set of fire of ICO, and that is referred to as blockchain 2.0. And fast forward to 2017, some projects like EOS, Zilliqa, and Thunder, just to name a few, started building public blockchain with better performance and scalability and better governance and consensus. And that led to being labeled as third generation of blockchain. However, lots of these endeavors still are untested. It will take a few years to develop. Also, many of the blockchain 3.0 projects are not suitable for enterprises and existing business. Their languages are hard to learn and implement for developers. And also, their private concern is still relatively important, especially for enterprises, which has very important sensitive informations. And also, interoperability with their existing system is still a challenge too. And also, companies want a comprehensive set of blockchain technology, but many of these blockchain 3.0 projects are not able to meet these needs. So with scalability and other issues being constantly addressed, our next big challenge is how the blockchain technology is going to adopt mainstream users and enterprises. And from our perspective, that's the future and the next generation of blockchain, which is blockchain 4.0. So when I first talked to AERGO team, they stood out immediately compared to other projects, probably over 500 projects that we review and work together in the past for many different reasons. So number one, It has the biggest potential of bringing blockchain technology closer to real world. As Juan and Phil mentions, ARGO is leveraging the key technology of BlockGo. And BlockGo already has dozens of production level projects with millions of end users. Number two, the team has been focusing on blockchain technology from 2014 and has been providing its blockchain product to some of the top enterprises, including Samsung, Hyundai, and Shinhan, etc. Number three, they are focused on being developer friendly. For example, providing SQL style data manipulation will definitely help their technology get adopted much easily compared to most other blockchain platforms. So as a global partner, GBIC will support and help ARGO with its mission and visions. So we truly believe that ARGO will advance the blockchain, will advance public blockchain by enabling autonomous businesses and will open up a new era of mass market usage of blockchain, which is blockchain 4.0. So congratulations to the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanae, for providing us with a more objective perspective in the role that ARGO will play in current blockchain space. Now, we want to announce our ecosystem partner number one, Spark Labs. ARGO and Spark Labs will begin our collaboration on creating the 360-degree support to cultivate a thriving community that benefits from ARGO. Please welcome Jimmy Kim, the co-founder and a partner of Spark Labs.
Hello, my name is Jimmy Kim. 저도 한국말 할 수 있는 분위기가 다 영어라는 분위기여가지고 한국말 영어.
I will speak both in Korean and English.
The co-founders and partners of Spark Labs. Spark Labs, we first started out as a Korea accelerator and to help Korean companies go global. And since then, we've invested in 92 companies. And those companies have raised about $366 million US with a market cap of $1.4 billion now. With that program success, we've developed a global network of accelerators not only in Seoul, but also in Songdo, Taipei, Australia, Beijing, and also Shenzhen, which our partners are Miri Asset, Ping An, the largest insurance group in the world, in China, KDB, Korea Development Bank, New South Wales government, and also CITIC, which is one of the largest asset management companies in China. Our main thing is to help entrepreneurs go global. And I'm very proud to say that 2.5 years ago, we were the first investors in BlockGo. And it is a great delight to see how much they have grown. And when they first came to us, they came to this idea as blockchain as a service. And to help developers or enterprise build blockchain applications very, very quickly. And to see that vision be fruition today as an ARGO is very, very exciting and also it feels very, very special today. Spark Labs, we will, with AERGO, have a new mission now. So we are here to find the next generation of blockchain engineers and companies who will use AERGO platform. We believe that our expertise is not really in technology, but helping companies scale and helping companies grow. And what we are going to do is to help companies use our expertise where we use our accelerating program to collaborate with AERGO and BlockGo to find companies that solve very, very, very significant problems that can go global. So we're very, very excited today to announce our collaborative partnership with AERGO, and we hope in the next couple of years come to our demo day, and you'll see the results of our collaboration. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the collaboration and also a great speech. So we are extremely excited to collaborate with Spark Labs, and we'll continue to bring out good news on how we will make this happen. We have reached the last part of the program. And to talk more in detail, our team will come up on the stage and we'll answer any of the questions you have. So Argo team, please come up to the stage.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Q&A session. If you have questions, please raise your hand. Any question will be welcomed. Please do not hesitate to raise your hand if you have any questions. Please use a microphone. Well, you probably have a deep understanding of our presentation. Oh, we have one question. The back of the room. The second row from the last, the gentleman. Well, do I need to stand up? Whatever suits you. And well, is that okay? I'm not good at English. Well, there are many blockchain companies preparing for ICO, both home and abroad. But when it comes to ICO, some are very pessimistic or negative view. And when it comes to ICO, especially we have Mr. Jamani, how do you think about this? Do you think it's necessary? Or how does it evolve in the future? And could you share both home and abroad's landscape of ICO? Hello, I am a project leader and head of finance, EG Min of AERGO. I'd like to answer your question. Well, AERGO, regarding ICO, we know that there's a negative connotation. Actually, the government and regulatory authorities, we looking closely and prepare a project in the future. Well, we are going to look at the trend of the market with the development of ICO. And as of now, regarding ICO, our marketing team's stance is that we are not going to give much comment on ICO. My apologies that I cannot give you more detailed information or answer. Thank you.
Next question, please. Lady in the back. I am Kim Ga-young from Cryptograph, the media. So your project is related to private blockchain. Recently, the government, whether the Seoul City Metropolitan Government, they want to use private blockchain to implement their policies or businesses. So there are plans announced by those local governments regarding the use of private blockchains. So what do you think of that trend? And do you believe that you want to engage in those projects led by those local governments to use private blockchain? Let me answer that question as the head of Bloco. Not only the local government, in the public sector, we have been engaged in those projects. We work with Gyeonggi-do province government. Blockchain will enhance the integrity of the data and transparency. It can contribute to the public goods. So by applying the technology, we could reap lots of benefits. So we experienced how blockchain can contribute to the better governance. Of course, technologies can be utilized in many different ways. For example, local currency or the e-voting are one of the major use cases that the public or private blockchain can bring about. And so far, those projects were conducted in a trial manner or the pilot manner. But going forward, we expect to see larger scale projects. In that experience, then we will work with AERGO to support higher performance and scalability. And blockchain and the public sector can work together very efficiently and effectively. So in the near future, we believe very positive results from those efforts.
The next question, the one in the white shirt. Well, you're using depots and deadlimer recently with the revision of the EOS, and during the presentation, Ethereum's full decentralization and Ethereum, we're going to work with Ethereum, you have said during the presentation. And when it comes to Argo chain, this is not a full decentralization, but to what extent that it is a centralized? What kind of ecosystem that you're intend to build? Well, in this part, I like to answer because I am a head of technology. Well, there's many trade-offs. Well, Ethereum's full decentralization, I believe it's very meaningful. And within our lab, and there are two different opinions. One says full decentralization is meaningful, and the other, well, in order to provide the service, we need a fast consensus. There are two different opinions. And the Ethereum, it says Plasma's concept itself is the side chain and unreliable or Ethereum's, even if it's not perfect Ethereum blockchain, they still realize the security. So we live up to the performance, and in the end, we work with Ethereum, and we can enhance security of our chain. That is our ultimate goal. I hope this answers your question. If that's the case, in the end, centralization has not yet decided yet. Your position is that we're going to establish an ecosystem working with Ethereum. When it comes to DPoS, depending on which BP will be selected, there are many concerns of centralization. And as a BP, of course, this will be carried out as a community, but valued or named BPs can be participated. We encourage that. And just because they have named BP, we have less probability of malfunctioning, even if there is some centralization, but network reliability will go up. So during that incubation program, we are going to work on it, and so we can provide a better network service. Recently, when it comes to EOS, the BP selection, they have troubles or difficult times. Well, what people want is reasonable and the full decentralization is taking place and providing a network system and like Western times of the U.S. Without any laws or rules. Well, we don't want that outlawed stage. So what we want is that one factor, not one factor, one power, based on the communication by multiple actors and by holistic view in an ecosystem. We want an ecosystem that is desirable. And in that sense, full decentralization and decentralized power is included. But many projects work on it, and what they concern is in the initial stage, there are stakeholders and participants rush in, and even if there's well, the person with deep pocket can dominate. So we are not fully prevent decentralization. So actually EOs with the block one, in the process of selection, well, the purification of community, in the process of that community, during the incubation process, we try to make a sound ecosystem. Of course, end goal, the power is fully distributed, and the blockchains, we try to, well, we believe that we will establish ecosystem that fits with the philosophy.
So I have one last question. Recently, there is some fee issue and the EOS's land price increased. So there is some issue concerning the fee. When I look at the Argo's website, it seems there is no specific explanation on gas or fee. And what is your plan for the fee? Well, in public chain, when they use limited resource, so when they have the limited resource, that will be distributed. Whether that is about fees, when they do not charge fees, well, they have to compete on network speed. In Argo, basically we maintain gas model. So to address the congestion on the main network. On one hand, many DApps will create the lots of transactions, and to make a right performance, they might use dedicated infrastructure. Because of that, we adopted n-tiered architecture. So we back the side change. In main network, well, we might charge fees or gas like Ethereum or the Bitcoin because we have to share the limited resources. And when the apps run, then they will use dedicated sidechain. So the gas will be much lower or can be exempt because we just want to meet their transaction requirements. When we use computing resources or the IDC, well, sometimes then you will just given a fixed amount of the computing power, but when you have a higher throughput demand, then you will adopt a dedicated environment. So in on-site chains, we assume high throughput environment. So on the main chain, they may have to pay transaction fees, but the in Argo architecture, there are side chains where applications can use the resources on a lower fees. We'll have one last question.
The one in gray suit. Please hand over the microphone. And I'd like to congratulate Argo. My question is about the public blockchain's ecosystems enhancement. That is very important, I believe. As a participant, there are so many participants will participate, like block providers or node providers will participate. During the incubation program has been mentioned. More detailed plan or what's the priority of the incubation program? That's my question. If I recap the question, actually, how are we going to develop ecosystem? The roadmap is your question, I believe. We believe that what we want is ultimately the blockchain's protocol in 5 or 10 years later, which protocol will be survive, and we want to be one of those. And actually what we target, and the target of the incubation is in 3 months and 6 months, it's all different. So actually Bloco's experience, we learned that enterprises or SWCs or businesses are the target, but we look for public. So the one who has a lot of interest in blockchain or early adopters in blockchain industry, and the one who want to provide a new service or improve their services based use on blockchain. At the same time, Blocos are partners and existing partners or clients. We try to find coexistence in parallel, both home and abroad. There are many partners based on their network and cooperation. Our competitors' value proposition has been suggested. Maybe we can provide same or better value proposition can be suggested by us.
So one of the things we will also do, we mentioned this earlier, if you look at cloud computing, 8 years ago when Jeff Bezos and Amazon started AWS, nobody believed this would ever really work, would scale. If you roll forward now, AWS has 42% of the worldwide market. If you add Azure from Microsoft, Google Cloud, and Bluemix from IBM, they have 66% of the market. The telcos are nowhere. Yet the telcos have one major advantage. They have local data centers, local performance, and local speed in every city. So we believe the telcos and hosting providers in each region will be very strong potential partners for ERGO, especially as potentially block and node providers. So part of our ecosystem build-out is not only to attract block providers and node providers quickly, but we also want very high quality, very stable, very, very large enterprise infrastructure providers like telcos to be part of the network. But this takes time. We need to educate them and work with them. But we are looking in every region of the world to partner with large telcos. And we believe many of these telcos want to re-enter the market with cloud. We believe blockchain could be a great service for them and their customers.
이제 저희가 블로코랑 되게 긴밀하게 협력을 하고 있기 때문에 대부분 기업에 굉장히 포커스가 될 거라는 퍼셉션이 많은데요. 실제로 저희가 궁극적으로 지향하는 이코시스템의 모습은 기업도 당연히 들어가 있지만 이제 인디비주얼 디벨로퍼나 패스트 어댑터들이 같이 서로 상생하는 관계를 만드는 게 저희 목적이고 실제로 기업을 끌어들이고 그리고 디벨로퍼들을 끌어들이는 데 있어서 세일즈 이외에도 다양한 방법으로 뭐 블록체인에서 서비스를 제공하고 인프라스트럭처에서 서비스를 제공하는 모습까지도 저희 그림 안에 들어가 있습니다.
네, 많은 질문들 감사드리고요. 이상으로 Q&A 시간을 마치면서 오늘 행사를 마무리하도록 하겠습니다. 참여해주신 많은 분들께 감사 인사드리겠습니다. On this note, we will wrap up our stage today. Thank you for all your support. We will continue to pour out all our passion into making AERGO great. So please continue to give us your feedback and advice be a part of this story. Thank you again for coming and hope to see you again soon. Thank you.